Welcome to the ADHD Fempreneur Podcast, where we unleash the power of the ADHD entrepreneurial mind. I'm Kerry Fitzgibbon. Ladies, let's turn your superpower into success. Welcome to the ADHD Fempreneur Podcast. I'm super excited today to be talking about something that I guess is a little bit taboo to some people. But I have been doing a fair bit of investigation myself and also a little bit of experimenting, and it's ADHD and alternative therapies in terms of microdosing. Okay, so ADHD and microdosing. So now, before I start with today's episode, I know a lot of you guys really do want to find out more about alternative medications, especially with the shortage of a lot of the stimulants at the moment, and one of the stimulants being Vyvanse, and that's the one that I'm on. There is a shortage throughout the world, and that's why, many people, including myself, have started to go down the path of looking at alternative types of medication, so to speak. But I do want to start with, I am not a medical professional, full disclaimer. Do not, this is just an opinion of mine. So, you must seek your own research, do your own research, ask, other people, and just take this as an opinion and an experiment that I personally have done. And I do not recommend that any of you guys do. Okay, so we got that? Right, so with that underway, I want to be quite honest and frank with you about my experience with trying to find something that is really going to work to help my ADHD symptoms, especially, in business as an entrepreneur. And I guess in day-to-day life, that doesn't necessarily rely on pharmaceuticals, because let's face it, we all know that whatever you do, whatever medication, whether it be pharmaceutical or let's just say, other things like microdosing, your mushies or your, other stuff out there, that it's all pharmaceuticals at the end of the day. So, it's all medication at the end of the day. So some's natural, some is natural, and some not as natural. So we all know that whether you are taking prescribed medication or whether you are experimenting with other things like the mushrooms, and there's psychedelics as well. And some people are actually talking about microdosing on caffeine, that it's all something that we're all trying to do to have better lives, to be able to function a lot better with our brain being, sometimes beautiful and sometimes less so with ADHD. So some of the things that, why people are experimenting with microdosing and why I have done the same myself is because medications can be actually really, really great. Of course they can. And I know a lot of people out there are having very successful time on medications. And I know that I did touch on this on a previous episode, which we can link to in the bio there. But sometimes we find that the medications don't work as well. So, for instance, I started Vyvanse, which is, a stimulant medication, and I started about 8 months ago now, maybe a little bit less. And as I've mentioned in previous episode, that it worked really, really well, and then it didn't. And then we had to keep moving between the different types of, how much I was taking. So I started on 30, and then I went on to, 50, and then I had to cut back down to 40, and so on. And it just seems to be a bit of a juggling match to find something that works. So it can take a lot of time, the pharmaceutical way, the medication. But the other thing is that sometimes it actually does stop working, and it depends on, often it can be hormonal as well. To the reason why it stops working, or it could be what's happening in the rest of your life, like stress and so on. And then other times, to be honest, where ADHD is, okay, we stop taking it because we simply get too busy, we forget, we don't realize that it might be working, and so on. So it's a routine. We have to be consistent with it, and we don't. So that's one of the reasons why some of us will seek alternative stuff. So the medications stop working, take time, or we forget to take them at all. So there has been a few studies out there, and there's been some studies using sort of classic psychedelics and in really, really low dosages, okay? And so this is called microdosing. Now, the key ones out there that you may have heard of is the lion's mane mushroom. There is microdosing on sort of psychedelics like LSD and so on. And then there is other things out there, like some people are experimenting on microdosing on caffeine, which, I've done myself. I'll have the odd cup of coffee. I have long black coffee pretty much every morning. But and it's great. If I don't have it, I'm okay as well. But I know some people actually that's what they have to do, and it's sort of their day-to-day as well. So in terms of lion's mane, again, I've bought the natural stuff that you can get in a pharmacy that's, got not the extra bit in it that's illegal. I've tried that and put it in coffee and whatever else, and it's meant to have these brain boosting effects, but I really didn't notice any difference, to be honest, so I don't know how many scoops of the stuff you're meant to have, or because they've taken, I guess, the acid side of things out of it, that it doesn't work as well. But I'm sure that the stuff that is full blown lion's mane, that probably does. And I've heard people saying that it works really well for them. But studies have shown out there, and again, I've done some research, that apparently it doesn't actually uplift your dopamine levels. So therefore, some say it shouldn't really work. Again, try and research these at your own discretion. The other thing is, again, psychedelics, so your LSDs and whatever else, done in microdosing. And again, studies have shown that that they, and I don't know, I just wonder about studies out there, to be honest, about some of the psychedelics and some of the alternate medicines. I do wonder if, the research out there, there's not much on it, but is it because the pharmaceuticals own everything? Is it because, who knows, people don't actually want us to experiment on this stuff? Is it really that dangerous? And some out there are saying that they're actually not that dangerous at all. And I am going to be getting, an expert on the show to talk about this in future episodes. So if you do actually want me to get someone else on to that knows a lot more than I do, and even though I've been researching and experiencing it myself, please do leave in comments below, hey, listen, can you get an expert on, Kerry? We'd love to know more. But let's start talking about my personal experience with microdosing. And I tried mascara gummies. So the Amnita, and I'm not pronouncing this probably properly, and I know there'll be people out there going, oh, that's not right. Correct me if you like to, that's fine. The Amnita, and I should have probably figure this out beforehand, mascara mushroom. Okay, so this is a natural mushroom, and it's got a few different properties in it, but one of the main key things for the ADHD is the ibotenic acid bit that comes out of the mushroom that is meant to be absolutely fantastic for ADHD symptoms. So I went online, I did a fair bit of research, and I found some people that were selling these gummies, and so I reached out to them. So I actually had a bag of gummies sent to me, and they're mascara gummies, and I got 350 grams of these little gummies, okay? And the instruction is to take 1 to 2 gummies a day. So they've arrived. And anyway, so I was super excited because I'm like, all right. Now, keep in mind, I'm also on a 40 mil Vyvanse. So 40 milligrams of Vyvanse. Now, I decided to try and do this experiment properly for you guys and for myself as well, because I am seeking alternative stuff. I mean, when your ADHD really starts to take over, and especially where I am, I'm perimenopausal. I run several multi-million-dollar businesses. I have a couple of teenage children, so the stress levels get really, really high. I will try almost anything to try and make my brain function on a day-to-day basis, instead of going into overwhelm, instead of falling in a heap, instead of losing all my energy, instead of feeling drained all the time, which I've never felt before, and just not even liking to be around people. I decided, you know what, I will try other things. There's got to be an answer out there. So they've arrived. And so it's 350 grams of this mascara gummies, and I'm being told to take 1 to 2 gummies a day. So I thought I'll try them with the Vyvanse as well. Now, maybe I should find these things out beforehand, but let's face it, I'm not going to follow the instructions anyway. I mean, what ADHD person actually follows instructions? If they say 2 will work a day, well, then we'll just take 5 because, of course, that's going to work better. But what I did is I kept taking the Vyvanse. So I take the 40 milligrams of Vyvanse and I take it around about 8 o'clock in the morning after I've done, a walk or run or something. And then it usually takes about an hour for that to kick in. And then I thought, well, I'll take the gummies as well. So I took a couple of gummies. So there I am. I'm waiting for this big, brain to go like fireworks, and nothing happened at all. I didn't notice anything different. All I noticed is that I can't even remember what flavor. I got strawberry flavor. That's right. Is they were really sweet and they tasted awful. Okay. So I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work. And maybe the Vyvanse took over. So, experiment day 1, not successful in terms of the mascara gummies, the mushroom gummies. So on day 2, I thought, okay, well, what I'll do today is I won't take my Vyvanse and I'll just take the gummies. So I took a couple of gummies and within an hour or so, nothing. So, and I was definitely noticing not having the medication as well because I sat down to do my work that day. So, I've got a few multi-million-dollar businesses here that I'm running, and I do have a lot of help and support, but, I'm still the captain of the ship here. So I decided to, so within an hour, I realized that nothing's happening. I'm not getting anything done. My head's going a little bit crazy here. I'm not focused, and my to-do list is never, ever, ever getting crossed off today. So I thought, well, you know what? One to do is just the suggestion in the gummies. So I took another 2 more. And so what I noticed after that, so now I'm 4 gummies and about 2 hours into my day after taking them. And it's hard to say. So I really did try and take notice of this. I felt like I was a little bit more focused, but not majorly. So day 2, gummies only, around about 4, no difference at all. So I've gone online and I've done a little bit more research. And what it says is that you are meant to, sometimes it builds up in the system. So we need to take it over a few days. I'm like, okay, radio. So day 3, no Vyvanse, just gummies, took 5 straight away. First thing in the morning. That's just not natural. So I took 5 of the 350 grams of these mascara gummies. And I noticed a slight bit more focus. In fact, only slightly. It would be less than the Vyvanse. The Vyvanse, I definitely can go straight focused. I can get through hours of stuff before I even realize that I've, it's time to eat and have a glass of water. But with these, I definitely, was aware of everything else, but I was a little bit more focused. Okay, so I took a couple more in the afternoon as well. And it was a nice sort of, okay day, but not 100%, on fire. Like people are saying that these things are meant to really turn this brain into, it is a superpower, but turn it into even more of a superpower on a day-to-day basis. So the next day I took some more. And so we're now about 4 to 5 days into my experiment with these gummies. And it just wasn't enough. It really, really wasn't enough for me to actually have completely gone off my Vyvanse to experiment with just the gummies. So what I did after that is I went back onto my Vyvanse again. Now, again, like the medical profession and everyone out there that is way more experienced with the stuff, both stimulant side and medication, ADHD medication side, and the natural alternative side will be looking at me possibly going, you know nothing, girl. And you are 100% right. I don't know enough to be an expert here. And I definitely do want to speak to people. I am just trying to find my own path and help others, ADHD fempreneurs or other people with ADHD who are trying to run businesses do the same. So I'm jumping on the grenade and trying to give you the information from a personal point of view of my experimenting to try and help you. So I guess the summary of what I've did, and it's probably not long enough to have experienced it. It's just that I was also, after this experience, I actually jumped on the plane and went to Thailand, so left all my medication and everything behind, because it's a bit of a rigmarole traveling with your medication. You can do it. You've got to jump through a few hoops to be able to do it in some countries like Thailand and Bali, which is where I've traveled over the last couple of months. But so I've been on absolutely nothing. It was a very, very short experience on microdosing mushies. And my conclusion on that very short experience is that it worked slightly. I'd be curious to speak to some more people about taking other things, because I have spoken to someone about the fact that I took the gummies, and they said the gummies actually don't work as well as actually taking either it in liquid form or actually as mushroom caps. So that could have been it. It could have been that it was a too low a dose, because it is one of the lower doses, or that I didn't take enough, or it could have been that I didn't try it for long enough. Okay, so watch the space. I'll definitely be trying other things or speaking to other people that can try other stuff. But I just want to share with you another little story on why I think that it could be a winner. And again, this is just a personal experience, and I'm going to, reveal something that is, for my age and whatever else, probably shouldn't reveal, but I have tried acid, and I tried acid once with a girlfriend of mine, and what actually happened on that, I won't try it again. It was too strong a dose, and it really did. I did do a tailspin on it. It didn't work initially very well for me, so do not recommend that at all. And it was a long, long trip, to be honest. And as I was going through it, it was about 72 hours. And, arm twisting. Oh, yeah, let's just try that. I don't even know why. So it was over 72 hours. And for the most part, because I had my girlfriend with me, it was fine, but it wasn't a good trip initially. But here's the kicker with that. Okay, so don't try it. I tried it. I regretted it within a few hours of doing it. I'm like, no, but you can't go back, can you, with these things? So this was a high dosage. This wasn't microdosing. This was something that I shouldn't have really done. But my experience afterwards was absolutely crazy. My experience afterwards was absolutely crazy. So after doing this acid with a girlfriend, and it was a sugar cube, and it was a social occasion, and not enjoying the first 48 hours or so. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't great. Wouldn't recommend it. But afterwards, far out. What I couldn't believe is all of a sudden I had a freakishly, I guess, I hyper-focused on needing everything tidy. So nothing could be out of place. And in fact, we were on holiday. I went throughout the house and I lined up all the shoes. I folded all the clothes. I folded my suitcase. I made it all tidy. Now, you guys with ADHD, you know what it's like. We have nothing tidy. Everything is all over the place. In fact, my partner and I, we're traveling at the moment, and he looked around the room and he went, Kerry, he said, you amaze me how you've been able to manage to get all your clothes from one end of the hotel room to the other end of the hotel room and out the door. Okay. So on this trip, at the end of it, everything needed to be tidied, everything needed to be folded, everything needed to be clean, nothing needed to be out of place. And it carried on for over a week. I even got home from this, because we were on holiday when my girlfriend and I did it. We got home, and my partner, he was like, what has got into you? I was tidy. Everything was tidy. Everything had to be organized, and everything had to be straight and whatever else. And it was really obsessive. So that's not typically me. And that would be definitely have been the result of the acid that I tried. I know a lot of people do ask, is microdosing legal in, let's just say Australia, which is where I'm from, and in other countries? It's not in Australia. I know it's not in many countries. It might be in some. I haven't, I only know about Australia, and it's definitely not legal, although I believe that some people can actually get some stuff on prescription nowadays, and that's something that, you'd need to talk to with your doctor. But in Australia, it is illegal. So I have been able to source it and get it in. Now, in terms of where to get it from, I don't want to actually leave a comment and let you guys know. I can't really comment on where you can get it from, to be honest. All I can say is, if this is a path that you want to take, if you're thinking about, okay, maybe I might try a little bit of microdosing, then please do your research. Do a lot of research. I've joined a community. It's called Mushroom Voice, and happy to give you guys that information if you want to reach out to me. But it is a paid community that I've joined. But there is a lot of dodgy people out there, so be aware. And I know for a fact there will be people leaving comments here on, whether you're on Instagram, on YouTube, whether you're on TikTok, or whether you're on Facebook. There'll be people leaving comments on here. They will try and direct you to someone else on either Instagram that they know that sells them and whatnot. Don't go down that path, okay? Do research yourself and thoroughly do your research, okay? Or reach out to me, and I don't really want to give out that information, but there is a couple of communities that I can refer you to. But please don't go and through the threads of the people that are going to leave comments here, because I can tell you now they will absolutely do that. So now let's talk about the side effects, right? So did I have any side effects from the experiment that I did? I had absolutely zero, right? So no side effects at all. Like I said, the thing is there probably wasn't enough time or enough that I took or whatever else for anything to have had a massive impact. I noticed something slightly, but that was it. In terms of the side effects from my, big dosage that I had of acid, an acid sugar cube with a friend when we're on holiday, as a why not, the side effect from that lasted about a week, and it was literally OCD on organisation and tidiness. So it wasn't actually really, really bad. I didn't notice anything else. And I don't know about the long-term effects. I mean, I might grow a third head. I don't know. But I don't even know that there's probably not even enough research out there on the side effects of the Vyvanse or the stimulants or whatever else as well. And there is definitely, I tell you now, not enough research done on females and ADHD, all right? There's not enough. So at the moment, we're all in uncharted territory where we're paving the way for future generations. So if I can do whatever I can do to pave that way for future generations to go through ADHD way better than I did, and especially, with ADHD and going through perimenopause, then I'll jump on the grenade for everyone out there and just report what I'm doing. I will be experimenting a little bit and be sharing with you my journey, and I'm going to interview a few people as well. And if you've ever tried anything, please let me know. Please leave in the comments below, whether you've actually tried microdosing, how it's worked for you, what you recommend, and so on. That would be really, really cool to just explore this and find out a little bit more on the subject. So I guess in summary of, this journey that I've taken into trying to find sort of alternatives, trying the microdosing, because, why wouldn't it work? Like, it's, microdosing mushies, microdosing some psychedelics, microdosing caffeine. And my experience so far was just the 350 mils of mascara gummies, mushies, basically mushy gummies, is, like I said, probably not enough time, probably not enough, and maybe because it was gummy format, it didn't work at all. So watch the space. I will be, like I said, covering it a little bit more in detail, interviewing someone. So if you did like this topic, you are looking at, you are an ADHD fempreneur, you are looking at, I guess, having a better life, maybe looking at alternative options out there to be able to actually really turn your brain into a superpower and, love life as such. Make sure you do subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. And if you do love this, make sure you give me a 5-star rating. And if you want to see more episodes like this, or if you want to find out more about ADHD, how it affects your business, if you're an ADHD fempreneur, then leave a comment below.